Hi, today we will discuss functions in C program. Okay. Function is nothing but a subprogram. Function nothing but a subprogram. Yeah, we know program means it perform some special task. Okay, we know this. Yeah, actually we define a program as a group of statements. Group of statements. Okay. Yeah, subprogram function. We can define a function as a function is nothing but a subprogram. Yeah, a subprogram consists of group of statements, and these group of statements performs some special task which is defined by C program, or it may be defined by user. Okay, let me see what are the different types of functions in C program language. Okay, basically we can classify functions two types. Okay, and first one is a user defined function. Okay, and predefined function. Predefined function. Okay, predefined functions are nothing but the functions which are defined in C program language. Okay, we already using different functions in our main program. Okay, actually we have 26 header files in C language. Okay, and different header files means math.h, console input output.h, standard input output.h, graphics.h. Graphics.h means header file extension, and string.h. Okay, these are the different header files already defined in C program language. In math.h, one header file nothing but it consists of group of related function. Math.h header file consists of mathematical operation function like cos, sine, tan, and power functions. Okay, different functions which are defined in math.h. In case of console input output.h, CLR, SCR, CLR, EOL, and text color, text background, different functions already defined in conio.h. In case of standard input output.h, basic function printf, scanf, fscanf, different function which are defined in standard input output.h header file. In case of graphics.h header file, line and circle, different functions which are defined in graphics.h. In case of string.h, we are already using different functions: string copy, strcpy, and string cat. Different functions we are using in string.h header files. Here, predefined functions are the functions which are already defined in C program language. Okay, those functions which are defined in header files. Okay, and in case of user defined functions, here we can use the user defined function and with different modes. Okay, I can use user defined function. I can write user defined function with different modes. Okay, let me discuss different modes. Okay, the modes are first with return, and without return. Okay, just I'm classifying. I can write function with different modes. Okay, those modes are first one with return, and without a return. Okay, and with return I can use two different modes. Okay, first one is with arguments and the second one is without argument. Okay, here argument nothing but if you want to pass one value from main program to subprogram, we have to pass that value at main program, and that value will be received at subprogram. Okay, at the receiving stage, the value we called the word we use the arguments. Okay, if you don't want to pass any value from main program to subprogram, we may use without arguments. Okay, in case with argument we can classify. Classify means we can write a program, we can write a function with two different modes. One is a call by value, another mode is call by reference. Here this is not, you don't get confused. If you want to write a function, you can choose any mode. Okay, if you want to write a call with return, call by value, call by reference means we have to mention the return type, and if you want to if you want to assign an address means we have to use call by reference. Just a call by value means we just assign a value from main program to subprogram. In case if you want to assign, in case call by reference means if we assign address of that variable from main program to subprogram, we have to use call by reference. Okay, if you want to write a program by call by reference, okay, call by reference means we have to use arguments. If you want to with return type, with return we have to mention with return, and with arguments, those arguments type is assigning address. Okay, this one is a very important one. In case without return type, similar way we can classify. Okay, let me see. Here also similar way with the argument, without argument, with the argument we can use different mode. Call by value, call by reference. Okay, call by value means you assign a value from main program to subprogram. In case of call by reference, you assign address of that variable from main program to subprogram. Okay, this is a basically different modes we may use to write a subprogram in C program language. Okay, let me see what is the basic syntax of function. Okay, first we have to mention return type. Okay, return type. Okay, in case return type, if you want to return a value, we have to mention what type of value you are going to return. Okay, it may be integer, or it may be float, or it may be character. Okay, if you want to return, you have to mention here int. If you want to return integer, you have to mention integer. If you want to return a float, you have to mention float. If you want to return a character, you have to mention char here. Okay, this is important one. Okay, return type we have to If you want to mention, if you want to use a return type function, you have to return what data type you are going to return. If you not mention any return type value, by default it thinks it returns a value. That value is integer type, default return type. This is important, default return type. Default return type data type. If you not mention any data type, it means that is the integer type return type function. Okay, and one more I already told, functions we may use two different modes, one return type and another is without return type. This is the return type. If you mention return type, we have to mention what that type you are going to return. If not returning, we have to use void. Void means if nothing returns from subprogram to main program. Here one more important thing is, if you mention integer I am going to return from subprogram to main program, then we have to use one keyword. That keyword is return. Okay, I am saying to my subprogram, here you have to return some value from subprogram to main program. Okay, in case if you not want to return any value, we have to use here void. In case return type already said int for integer type. If you want to if you mention float, that returns the float. Okay, if you don't want to return any value, we have to mention void. Void, if you mention void means this function won't return any value to main program. Okay, return and return without return. And the next we have to mention function name. Function name we have to mention. For example, already said we in C program already defined functions also there. We don't want, we never use already defined predefined function names. For example, printf is a well-known function, is already defined in C program. Okay, we should not use this printf function as a name, because this function is already defined in C program. So we must not use already predefined function name as your function name. Okay, and next already said with return, with arguments and without arguments. Okay, let me say with arguments means I am mentioning some values, I am assigning some main program values to subprogram. So first we have to mention what data type. The subprogram does not know what the data type you are assigning. So we have to mention data type. Okay, data type means it may be integer or it may be char, it may be float. Okay, data type argument 1, comma, data type argument 2, so on. Okay, and one more thing is, you should not terminate semicolon. You should not use semicolon here. Okay, in case of argument, if you don't want any argument, just you keep blank like this. Function name, just you keep like this. This means you are not assigning any argument from main program to subprogram. Okay, yeah, in next classes we will discuss all different modes of functions. Okay, and block beginning, open bracket and close bracket. Here nothing but already said is a function, nothing but a subprogram. A program consists of group of statements. Okay, statement 1, statement and 2 and okay, and we have to mention in case return value. when we have to use return, if you mention here integer, here used, if you mention return type, okay, if you mention return type, okay, if you mention return type means this function is returning one value to your main program. If you mention void means you not need to mention return, okay. If you mention return in case of void, it gives error, okay. These are the basic syntax of function in C program language, okay. In next we will discuss different modes of function with basic example, okay. Hi, today we will discuss functions in C programming language. This is a program about with return type and with arguments, okay. And here we used call by value arguments, okay. Here in case of call by value, we assign value from main program to sub program, okay. Yeah, just first I included stdio.h and conio.h, and I wrote void main. Main is a one function. It includes all statements and functions, okay. And I defined integer value a, b, and sum. Just I giving basic example to understand the program, okay. And in some compilers we have to initialize the what function we defined in our editor, okay. That's why I initialized yeah, this function returns integer type, and yeah, function name is add, and I use the two arguments. Those argument types are integer types, so I mentioned int, and second argument here not need to mention a variable name, just that one is the initialization, and second one is also integer, okay. And this part is nothing but an initialization part, okay. This is very important one. Like initialization of variable, I initialized this function, okay. And printf for to read a one value, I use scanf function here, and similarly for b value, for reading of b value I entered here, and here one more variable I used sum, and here I called function add of two variable. When I call this function, it directly comes to here, okay. And what happens here, here this is the function name add, okay. It search for the that function, it directly comes to here, and a value here in first argument a, and this value will be assigned into into x, and the second argument is b, this value will be assigned into y, okay. And after that here one more variable I used, int total, okay. Total equal to x plus y, and I return total, okay. And then what happens here, it returns a value. So here indirectly, for example, a value 2 and b value 3, 2 plus 3 5, here the indirectly add of a comma b become 5, and 5 value will be assigned into sum, okay. And then after it prints a value, printf here percentage the first percentage the a value will be printed, and in second case b value will be printed, and in third percentage the sum value will be printed. Let me see how it works, okay. Okay, lot of errors. Let me see what are those errors, okay. Here semicolon is not there, sorry. Here double quote should be this. Okay, yeah, let me see a void main and initialization completed. Here after this one, enter a value printed on output screen, and next, yeah, it's reading scanf. I given a value 5, and then b value will be printed. Enter b value. Okay, now F7, yeah, 3. F7 means it gives the step by step tracing, and directly now it does not goes to printf statement, directly it jumps to this function. Okay, here initialization and assigning of values will be completed here. Okay, and the initialization completed, total x plus y, and it returns the value. It goes to directly uh, that value will be assigned in sum, and it gives output. Okay, let me see what is an output. Okay, 5 plus 3 equal 8. This is a return type with arguments. With arguments, those arguments are called by value, or just I am assigning only values. Okay, instead of writing integer total and defining total, you can also directly use x plus 5, because we can save 2 byte. When we define int total, then it occupies 2 bytes total variable. Instead of defining this one, just I wrote x plus 5. Okay, let me see whether it works or not. Okay, a value 5, b value 3. Okay, okay, in this way we can write. Instead of writing here sum, we can also directly call, instead of sum, we can directly call add a plus b. Okay, to understand about arguments type, I modify a program. Okay, this one is call by value method. Instead of, if you want to use call by reference, just instead of assigning value, we have to assign address. Okay, so to assign address, we have to use ampersand, ampersand a, ampersand b. This is the one more important thing. If you are assigning address, then we have to define pointer variables. So I defined pointer variables here. Okay, actually x and y, nothing but now uh, it defines only address of x. We need value, so I defined pointer value. Okay, let me see whether is there any errors. 3 errors. Okay, here actually I assigned here ampersand. Okay, I am assigning address, but here we did not assign, I did not define here as a pointer, so it getting error. Okay, pointer type function. Here how we defined here integer pointer x and integer pointer y, those are pointer variables, no? That's why we got an error. Okay, let me see. Okay, all errors are clear. I'm running 3 5. Okay, 3 plus 5 8. This is a call by reference method. Okay, we can also return pointer variable. Okay, we can define pointer variable. Okay, and now we will discuss without return type. And in case without return type, we have to mention yeah, just I defined integer type function, that's why I given integer. If you want to define float or character, you can remove here integer. Instead of integer, you can define char or float. And now I am going to explain without return type. For that, without return types, I have to mention void in function name, and at the same time I have to mention here void. Okay, void add. Okay, Now just if you defined void in subprogram, you never use this return function, sorry, you never use return keyword. Okay, then if you want to print that value, just you have to print here only, print some percentage d comma, okay, with arguments without return type. Okay, just what I am doing here, uh, just I am calling function by assigning two variables into function. Okay, here the function method is without return with arguments. Those arguments are called by reference argument. Okay, let me see, is there any error? Okay, no error. Run same value 3 and 5. Okay, sum is 8. Okay, if you when we have to use this type function means here I don't need if you not need of this variable in main function, then you may go for without return type function. Okay, if you don't want this total value at main function, you may go for without return type. Okay, and if you want to use without return and with arguments, those arguments are called by value, then you have to remove this one, and here remove ampersand, because I am assigning only values only. Here I am removing this pointer. Okay, and at the same time we have to remember this pointer, because of pointer of x means the address of that variable. Okay, address of variable, pointer of x means value of address of that variable. Okay, let me see how it works. Same values I will give 3 5. Okay, sum is 8. This way we can write a function in different ways based on our requirement. We can write. Okay, first we have to know what type of function you want to write, with arguments or without arguments. Okay, and with return or without return. Now let me go for without arguments. Okay, without arguments means here you not need to assign any value, and at the same time in definition also you remove this one. But here it does not know if you want to add uh, x and y. I mean, if you want to add two values, you need to know those values. If you are not assigning, if you are not using arguments means those values will not be defined in main program. Okay, not need to define those values. Okay, just I define those values here in subprogram. Okay, I defined here. Okay, now here directly we can write, instead of defining total, I'm saving 2 bytes of program. Okay, just I wrote a plus b, a plus b without arguments, but you have to define int a comma b. Okay, I defined integer type, and just I call only add. I'm not assigning any arguments here. Arguments not assigning means if you want to add without arguments,
we need two values, but those values I am collecting at subprogram only. Okay, let me see how it works. Let me see whether any errors will be there. Okay, no error. The same values I give 3 and 5. Okay, sum is 8. This is where we write functions. Okay, thank you for watching this video.